Hello and welcome to another episode of Frontline Calling. Hi, Adrian.
Hi, Jan.
You are, as always, there where the big news are. You are in Istanbul at the moment, where peace talks are happening or maybe are not happening. I think nobody understands at the moment who is coming, who's not coming. Maybe you can give us an overview through all this confusion that is going on there at the moment.
It's a totally bizarre situation, actually. So I got here on Monday already. And ever since then, it's just like a back and forth about information who is coming, who might come, who is not coming. Today is the day, Thursday, when the peace talks were scheduled to take place until the night. This was not clear if Putin will show up himself. And in the middle of the night, he basically declared no, he's sending a delegation. The situation that we have now is that Zelensky went to Ankara, the capital, to meet Turkish President Erdogan, where he is right now. The Russians sent a delegation in the morning, a five-member delegation, not very senior, to Istanbul. And then in the morning, the confusion started all over again. The Russian state media gave a statement that at 10 o'clock in the morning, local time, there would be the beginning of the meeting of the delegations. Shortly afterwards, the Ukrainian said, hold on, we haven't agreed on anything like that. We don't know about that. And apparently, most of the Ukrainians are not even in Istanbul at the moment. Part of them are with President Zelensky in Ankara. Another part is in Antalya, also in Turkey, where there's a NATO meeting going on at the moment. And that's also where the Minister of Foreign Affairs from the USA is, Rubio. So it's a total confusion. Nobody knows what is going to happen today. And on top of that, when everybody thought, okay, the most senior meeting will not happen, it's basically over because Putin is not coming. Trump once again said during his Middle Eastern trip, well, if something boils up, I could consider maybe on Friday to still come to Istanbul. So all cards on the table once again. My feeling is the likeliness that we will see an outcome is very small at this stage, but there's still a slim chance that we might still see a high level meeting here, and that could then turn everything around.
It's really a complete absurd situation, right? It could almost, well, it's not funny because it's really so much is at stake. A horrible war is going on in Ukraine. This is even more absurd, right? That such a situation is unfolding. But do you think that Trump is realizing more and more that Putin is really playing games with him? This is how it looks like, no, to the outside world and probably also to Trump himself. And Trump is definitely not a person, I think, that likes the image that somebody else is playing games with him.
Right, I agree, but on the other hand, after the statement and the most recent one by Trump, probably he still really has hope that they could sit together. And I mean, ever since Trump took office, there's been the talk of this meeting between Putin and Trump, but it's never materialized. So you're right, the more time passes and it doesn't look like there will be a meeting, the more likely it is for Trump to at one point say, okay, why am I wasting my time with this? I mean, there were indications from the American side already that then we will look to other regions and try to focus there. But yeah, it's really a totally bizarre scenario at the moment. We're talking about possibly the most important political events in this year, and nothing is happening. Nobody knows what's going on. There seems to be a massive lack of communication. So let's see what happens. I mean, if the delegations meet, even if it's not with the presidents, of course, it's an important first step, I would say. And if you look at the history also of peace talks, it's usually not the case that presidents or heads of states meet first and then something is announced. Usually it's a long process with lower level representatives meeting, debating what are the concessions we can make. And in the end of the day, once an agreement is reached, then the presidents are coming and then they're signing some sort of document. So this is usually the procedure. But in times of Donald Trump, being president, everything seems to be upside down here anyway, plus the chaos with the Russians. So let's see what will happen.
It's definitely also not an easy situation for you and for other reporters to make sense of this all. And it's also not so easy that it's taking place in Turkey, right? It's also for journalists, let's say, not the easiest country. And I've heard that you've also run into some troubles already.
Yeah, exactly. We had an issue yesterday where we were getting ready for a live broadcast with German TV on the rooftop of a production company, and then all of a sudden, two heavily armed military men stormed on the rooftop, said, "Switch off the equipment immediately. You're not allowed to do this." Although we had all the necessary papers, they had their faces covered. They had machine guns with them, so that was really a totally bizarre reminder that we're in a country where press freedom is a big issue. In the end of the day, we were not able to do our live. They chased us down, and now it's probably a court case starting with the production company. Very uncomfortable situation. And also, when you're filming here outside on the street with camera equipment, it usually just takes short moments until some undercover cops show up. I think you also filmed here, and maybe you also experienced that yourself, to ask what you're doing, look at your permit. So yeah, it feels like you're not in a country that respects press freedom very much. But so far today, everything went well. And from what I hear, there's a number of colleagues who now also came in with very short notice accreditations. Usually, you need a week or two at least to get to Turkey to work here as a journalist. It appears that for this peace talks, they try to loosen the process a little bit. But what we have experienced yesterday shows that the system obviously has a bit of a problem here.
Definitely not an easy environment, and definitely not easy to make sense of this whole situation. We don't want to steal much more time of you at the moment. I'm sure you have enough work with really following like every 5 minutes the
Following
news,
and
who's
waiting.
coming, who's not coming, who might come, and who comes if somebody else comes. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, right now, what I will do is basically what most colleagues are doing. They're waiting at the venue that the Russians announced 2 hours ago that they would start there, but nobody showed up. So you have like hundreds of journalists waiting in front of the entrance for a car of a delegation to drive in. That's all we can do at this stage and see what happens.
well, good luck. I'm sure we will talk again very soon to get some more updates. Thanks for your time. Of course, also, like always, thanks a lot to our viewers for their interest, and we'll talk soon.